All right, guys, listen up. I have a word for you guys today. And the title of this video is God is putting all the broken pieces back together. It's the season of miracles. God is doing miracles in this season. And like always, I'm going to tell you guys how God gave me this word. So 5 days ago, so today's Friday, and last Sunday, 5 days ago, I was leaving church. And normally I go home and I take a right out of church, but I was going to get coffee with a friend after church. So I ended up taking a left. And when I took this left, I drove by this truck. It was like a cleaning company. And on this truck, it was painted with all different colored puzzle pieces. And I just, like, when God gives me a word, I just know in my spirit that that is like important for me to pay attention to. So I wrote it down in my phone notes and I was like, okay, so I passed a cleaning company truck that had scattered puzzle pieces on it. And I knew that was going to be how God gave me that sign. So I go about my day, don't think anything of it. And then the next day, which was a Monday, I was on the way to the gym and I'm behind this car. Okay, so this is important to remember. I was behind this car. It was a Rogue, it was like a Nissan Rogue or something. And it had a puzzle piece with a heart next to it, like two stickers on the car. And I know that the puzzle piece symbol is a sign, it's like the symbolic sign for autism, and it's April, so April is Autism Awareness Month. But because I had a lot of people, when I was posting these signs a little bit on Instagram, people were like, oh, did you know that that was the autism sign? And I do know that, so I want to shout out to it's National Awareness Month for Autism, but the signs that God was giving me was not about autism. So I just wanted to say that before I sound like insensitive to it being Autism Month. So that sign, it was a puzzle piece with a heart next to it. I go to the gym and then I knew that God was like developing a word, and I knew that he was telling me in my spirit that he's putting all the broken pieces back together. And I needed God to confirm that to make sure I heard him right. And as soon as I get home from the gym, I'm on Instagram. God speaks to me and speaks to you guys and speaks to people through social media as well. So don't discredit social media because God has spoken to me so many times through Instagram and just like other, even YouTube. So I get home and I get on Instagram, and the first thing on my feed is a pastor posting a puzzle piece picture. There's like 3 puzzle pieces linked together. And then the quote, or like the inspirational quote that he put on the post said, God puts broken pieces back together. I'm going to pop all these photos in somewhere. And so I knew that I knew that God was confirming that that was the word, that God puts broken pieces back together. And then the next day, I'm on the way to the gym again, and I see another car with a license plate that has 4 pieces of the puzzle put together. And so the first time when I saw it, think about how just cool God is when he puts things together. Just like how he puts my prophetic words together, he puts the puzzle pieces back together. He adds onto it, just like you're putting a puzzle together and making a bigger picture by piece by piece by piece. That's how God puts the words together that I release to you guys, and that's how he develops our life. Is he puts things together, and the next thing you know, you're looking from a bird's eye view, and the whole entire thing is done. Your purpose is done. Everything is done from God's viewpoint. So the first sign that I got was the scattered puzzle pieces, right? And then the second sign I got was one puzzle piece with a heart saying that it was broken, but I can still make it whole into a heart. And then as soon as I get home, I see the pastor put the 3 puzzle pieces, but there was still one missing. And then the next day, I see 4 puzzle pieces put together. And so I knew that God was saying that he's going to complete the picture. He's going to complete whatever you're worried about. You might not understand how the puzzle is going to come together. You might not understand how the purpose is going to come about. You might not understand how it's all going to make sense, because it doesn't make sense right now, because you're like, where is the missing pieces? How is this all going to come together? And God is saying that he's going to put all the broken pieces together, and he's going to do it in a way that's a miracle. This is a season of miracles. So listen to how cool God is. So after I get the 4th sign of the completed puzzle pieces, I go to a coffee shop that day, and it starts pouring rain. It started literally hailing, and it was storming. It was just, and I'm like, I'm great. I'm going to get stuck in this coffee shop. And next thing you know, like an hour later, after I wait in this coffee shop for the hail and the rain to stop, a beautiful, huge rainbow. And if you guys know what the rainbow means in the Bible, it's a symbol of God's promises. So God confirmed that word, saying that He is promising that He's going to put all the broken pieces together, that it's all going to come together and it's all going to make sense, even though it doesn't look like that right now, even though you don't understand how it's all going to come together. God might have been giving you piece by piece and little by little, and you're like, well, I don't know how this is all going to tie in. I don't know how this is all going to make sense. And God is saying, hold on. There's still pieces that He's putting together, but once He puts it together, it's a miracle. There's going to be a miracle. So I don't know what this is. I don't know who this word is for, but God is saying that He's going to be doing a miracle in your life, and He's putting all the broken pieces back together. All the pieces that were scattered in your life are coming back together, and God is restoring. God is a restorer, and He's restoring these pieces that have been scattered. And what else did I write in my notes? So about the rainbow, about God's promises, the scripture for that is Genesis 9:13-16. And God put the rainbow in the sky after He was promising that there would never be a flood again on earth. So that's what the rainbow represented, okay? My ring light just turned off, and I don't know why. It turned off by itself as I'm recording, and I'm not going to let that distract me from putting out this word, because clearly, you guys, the enemy is working just to try to... I've already tried recording this video like 5 times today, and every single time there's been a distraction, and so I'm not going to let that distract me. So after I saw the rainbow, I was like, wow, God just speaks in such, He speaks to me in signs. And I knew that that was a way of God saying that His promise is He's putting all the broken pieces back together and restoring everything that was broken. He is making your situation that looked broken, He's making it whole and complete again. Because God doesn't leave His work unfinished. He doesn't leave His work halfway finished. Just like a puzzle is, you complete a puzzle to complete the whole picture. You don't leave a puzzle unfinished. And God is saying, I'm the masterpiece, and I'm not going to let this thing be unfinished, because God says in His word in Philippians 1:6, He says, He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. God does not start what He doesn't intend to finish. Just like you don't start a puzzle without intending to finish it. No one buys a puzzle and just says, I'm going to just do the outer edges. I'm just going to complete the sky. You buy a puzzle and you do a puzzle because you want to complete the final picture, and you want to complete the puzzle. So God doesn't start what He doesn't intend to finish. So I thought that word was done. I'm like, all right, God, you gave me the word. You had a beautiful rainbow. The word is finished. I'm going to put this out. God's promise. It's your promise. And yesterday, you guys, I'm sitting on my bed and I'm about to record this video, okay? I'm journaling, and all of a sudden I hear a boom, loud crash. I heard screeching tires, I heard a crash, and I was like, someone just got into a car accident outside of my house. So as you can see, my window is right here. And I look out the window and I can see the entire thing from my street. And I see this truck had flipped over on the other side of the road, ran into a power pole. All of the power lines fell onto the truck and started sparking. And it started exploding, like little explosions. They were like mini explosions from the wires and the power lines exploding. And all of the power lines and the pole was literally on top of the truck, flipped upside down. And this is in the middle of the day. There's no storm, there's no rain, there's no traffic like where I live. This is like a back road. And I'm like, how in the world did someone like veer off the entire road and literally flip over into a power pole, and then the entire power lines literally fell onto the truck? And I'm like, oh my gosh. And so I run out of my room. Now, just think about how crazy this is. This was 2 minutes right before I was going to record this, put out this word. I run out and I see one other car that had stopped, and they started calling 911, and I could see that person that was in the car that called 911, they went to the truck to see if the person was alive under the truck. And I have no idea. I don't know what happened, because where my house is, I'm like on top of a hill. So I can see all this from the bottom of my hill, because like you have to walk all the way down to the hill. I go back in the house, I get on my shoes, and I run down the hill. And then the guy, he had already called 911, so we're all waiting. Next thing you know, all these people that are like, cause like my back road, it's like the main back road that you get to the city. So like all of a sudden, all these people were driving back and forth, and all of them stopped on the side of the road to look like what happened, because they could clearly see that this accident had just happened. And I called a friend of mine who lives like close, and I was like, hey, if you're by my house, like come over here, like we need help. And so he's like, it's kind of crazy that you're calling me right now, because I was literally 5 minutes away from your house, so I'm gonna come right now. So he comes, parks, gets to me, I meet him, and we're waiting for the firefighter people. Still haven't come, the cops haven't come, no one has showed up yet. They didn't show up until like 10 or 15 minutes later. And so I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is the opportunity for me to step out in faith and gather all these people around, huddle them up in a prayer circle, and pray for this person, because we couldn't even step near the truck because there was sparking and flames, and we didn't know if it was going to catch on fire, because they're literally tangled into the wires of the power lines. I'm going to pop in photos somewhere over here. But I know that there's power in prayer, and especially in a big group of, there's so much power in prayer. So at this time, there was already probably like 15 or 20 people outside just waiting and like just watching and waiting for the cops to show up. And so I didn't even know if any of these people were Christians or not, but God gave me the boldness to step out in faith, step out of my comfort zone, and say, hey guys, let's do a prayer circle, let's huddle up. And so everyone, you could tell that some people were hesitant. Like there's these two guys that looked at me, and they were like looking at me like weird, like and I was like, come on guys, like let's pray. And then, but no matter what, everyone still came. Even though I could tell that some people weren't Christians, everyone still came, and we all gathered around. We put our hands on each other, and my friend prayed for us, and he was just praying, and he's like praying for the firefighter people to get this person out, praying for the cops, praying for this person's like that he's gonna be okay, this person's gonna be okay. And okay, after that, we're waiting for 30 minutes, and the next thing you know, we see all the firefighter people show up. Well, they had been there, but like it was like more and more and more. And they had to start doing jaws of life. And before they could even touch the car to do the jaws of life, they had to call the electricity people to make sure that the electricity and the power was shut off because of a fire or because of like getting electrocuted. So that didn't show up for 20 more minutes. And throughout this whole time, like we're all still wondering, is the person alive? Like we have no idea, because the cops and the firefighter people won't let us get close. Like they're like, back up, back up. So we see them all like getting on their knees to like look under the car, but we can't tell if they're talking to anyone. We can't tell if this person's alive. And so after the electricity people come and they turn off the power, and they're like, okay, you have the green light, they started moving in on doing jaws of life. I kid you not, you guys, 15 minutes later, we're all just like waiting, like frantically, like looking. This lady, it's a lady, walks out in a dress as if nothing happened. Not a scratch, not a mark, not a backache, not a cut, not a speckle of blood, nothing. She walks out of there. When you guys see this photo, I don't know if wherever I'm going to post these photos, if you saw this of what it looked like, of like fire and power lines and like how the glass was shattered everywhere, you would have never thought that this person would have survived or have been critically like sent to the hospital. Nothing. She went into the ambulance, they checked her vitals, and that was it. Like she literally walked out of there without a scratch. And those same people that were hesitant to coming into the prayer circle were moved, and people were in tears. This one lady was like, she left after the prayer circle, she left when she saw the lady walk out, and she's like, God is great, God is great, there's power in prayer. And I was like, yes. And I know that when we huddled up for prayer, like not even if our prayer didn't technically save that person, if God was going to save her regardless, but the power in prayer, because I know that planted a seed in other people who might not have been believers, because if they just saw what God did and we prayed, that definitely saved other people's lives. That was definitely just like planting a seed in other people's lives for the power of prayer. And so I thank God for giving me that boldness to step out of my comfort zone and to step out in faith and ask everyone to gather around and pray. It was such a powerful moment, because so many people, when they saw her get up with no scratch, were moved. And so many people I know probably thought, wow, that prayer did do something. Even the people that weren't Christian. So I know that God like had me there for the divine appointment to do that. And it's just funny how God did that 2 minutes prior to me recording this word, and now I know why. So after we saw that, me and my friend were so hyped all day. We're like, look what God just did. Like, look what God just did. And we were just like moved all day. So my power was out because it was behind my house. My power was out for the whole night until 7 p.m. last night because they had to put up a new power pole. They had to put up all the new things. And so I go to the coffee shop. Guys, I kid you not. I literally get to the coffee shop, the same car that I saw 2 days prior on the way to the gym, not even in the same area. I'm at a coffee shop, okay? 2 days prior, the same car that I saw, the Nissan Rogue with a puzzle piece in the heart, is now at the coffee shop. It's not even close to each other. The gym and the coffee shop, they're like 15 minutes away from each other. And I saw the same exact car. And that's when I knew that God, the word that I needed to release, the word was complete because God showed me he just did a miracle. He put all the broken pieces together, even though their car was broken, even though the wires were broken, even though the pole broke in half on the car, even though the glass was shattered all over the floor. God produced a miracle. God produced a miracle for that lady's life, even though it looked broken, even though everything looked scattered, even though it didn't make sense to all the people watching this. God is saying that he's putting all the broken pieces together. And even though you don't understand right now, God is doing a miracle. And you know why he's doing a miracle? And you know why it doesn't make sense right now? Because God wants to get all of the glory. So whatever that is going to be in your life, I know that God is saying that there's a breakthrough that's coming. There's a breakthrough that's coming. And you're not even going to believe it. It's going to be so big. It's going to be so miraculous that you're like, wow, like only God is the explanation for that to happen in your life. So that is the word for today, you guys. It was so powerful, and it's just so amazing how God works, because I literally was on my bed about to record this word yesterday, and then that entire accident happened, which took up my whole day, which I'm not mad about because it was the most powerful, amazing thing that I've witnessed in a long time of God doing a miracle. And I know that God is doing miracles in this season. I've talked to a few other people, and there have been miracles that have been happening in this season. People getting saved from cancer, people getting saved from diseases. Even God saved my uncle from stage 4 lymphoma cancer a couple of weeks ago. God is doing miracles in this season. He's putting all the broken pieces back together. And God is saying to you that he is your guide. He will make sure that all the pieces go in the right place. So when I saw the last sign of the puzzle completed, with 4 pieces put together on the license plate, and hours later a rainbow, and then this miracle that happened, God is saying that it's coming to fruition. It's getting completed. It's getting completed. This season is a season of fulfilled promises. So if you guys have been looking for a word that is confirming God's promises to you, God is saying that it's coming. God is saying that there is breakthrough. God is saying that it's going to blow your mind. He's doing miracles in this season. I hope this word blessed you guys. I love you guys so much. Thank you for all of your support. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video if this touched you, if this moved you. Send this to someone who needs encouragement, or if you think this word is for someone. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.